These are times when ambitions and expectations were too much. One loose bolt, poor quality materials, cracked windows, and no matter how pretty your building is, you're going down in history as the engineer who's responsible for the most epic, catastrophic disasters of all times. Wondering what these disasters look like and how much damage they did? How much money did they cost? From dams that were supposed to withstand a once-in-a-thousand-years flood to ancient Rome and more, here are the top 15 biggest construction fails. But before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Number 15. The Banki Au Dam. The Banki Au Dam collapse is one of the biggest structural failures of all time. It was dubbed the Iron Dam. Built in the 1950s, engineers claimed it could withstand a once-in-a-thousand-years flood. People should have listened to the chief designer, who said the dam needs 12 gates to handle the water overflow. Only 5 gates were built. It caught up to the government in 1975 when record rainfall caused the dam to eventually crack and break. Over 200,000 were killed and more injured and displaced. Next time, maybe listen to the chief designer. Number 14. Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Imagine failing so epically that your bridge earns the embarrassing nickname of Galloping Gertie. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge was set to be the third longest suspension bridge in the world when it opened in 1940. However, it didn't last over 4 months. What doomed it? Cheap materials. A short time after it opened its virtual doors, even with gentle winds, the bridge would sway and buckle. Eventually, on November 7, 1940, when the winds were whipping past it at a speed of 43 miles per hour, it finally collapsed, in the weirdest way ever. The center part remained still, but the 2 other halves of the bridge contorted in opposite directions. Cracks formed, and the entire thing fell into the river. Number 13. The Beaulieu Cathedral. The Beaulieu Cathedral is an ongoing construction fail. The gravity-defying building is believed to be the tallest cathedral in the world with the highest ceiling in a Gothic choir. The price to reach that height is one the builders and planners are still paying for. The cathedral, as grand as it seems, is technically unfinished. Construction started in the year 1225. By 1272, the main body of work was finished and they started holding services immediately. All was well until 1284 when part of the choir vault collapsed. The high-speed winds and strains from the height it had weakened it. Over the years, the same problems occurred with the height proving to be troublesome. It wasn't until the 1600s that they gave up working on it. Number 12. Lotus Riverside Apartment Building. A Lotus Riverside apartment building in Shanghai, all 15 stories of it, completely fell apart at the cost of a worker's life. Low-quality construction techniques and rushed work were to blame. Believe it or not, but half the units were already sold, each going for around a whopping $60,000. Number 11. 27 AD Amphitheater. One of history's most significant construction fails dates back to 27 AD. Rome, at the time's favorite pastimes, was gladiator games, and they of course needed amphitheaters. Enter overly ambitious Attilius, an entrepreneur who decided to cut corners by building unstable foundations and using cheap materials, mainly wood, to build his stadium. The day of the next gladiator fight, over 50,000 people flocked to the stadium, only to have nearly half of them fall to their death as the seating collapsed under them. From there on, the emperor declared that stadiums had to pass a safety inspection. Number 10. The Reagan Maria Status Center. MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Labs, Department of Linguistics and Philosophy, the Laboratory of Information and Decision Systems, should probably have one of the soundest buildings in history. When it first opened in 2004, its never-seen-before bold design was praised. This thing challenged the laws of physics. Until it didn't. Given enough time, walls started to crack. During the winter months, giant icicles would form and the exterior walls began to grow mold. It cost MIT a whopping $1.5 million to fix it and to sue the designer. Number 9. Walkie Center. Yeah, the Walkie Center, located in the center of London, looks phenomenal, and it is an award-winning office block. But it suffered from a major construction fail that hurt everyone around it. Even before it was finished, people started complaining that its design made it focus sunlight onto the streets. It even partially melted a Jaguar parked nearby, as well as numerous other cars. The solution was adding a sunshade to the building. Number 8. Dara Hotel and Spa. This hotel construction fail is pretty epic, but wait until you hear about the hotel fail coming up in a few moments. For now, welcome to the Dara Hotel and Spa, also known as the Death Ray. The Dara Hotel and Spa had a very specific failure. Everything is fine and dandy until you decide to go for a lap in the swimming pool. Instead of just looking beautiful, the design of the hotel starts working against it. It acted like a massive magnifying glass that focused the sun directly into the swimming pool area. People were complaining that they were getting burned. One guest even claims that the glare of the sun had burned his hair and melted a plastic bag. Number 7. Dubai Aquarium. Part of the $20 million Burj Dubai development, the Dubai Aquarium is a sight to behold. Home to over 33,000 types of fish, 400 sharks and stingrays, and over 2.5 million gallons of water, people flock to it. Within 2 years, however, weakness in its foundation almost caused an unfathomable catastrophe. In February 2010, the entire Central Mall went into emergency mode with thousands of people evacuating it. Why? One of the tanks had water gushing out of it. To fix the problem, a team of workers worked to mop the floor while 6 divers geared up and repaired the leak. Number 6. John Hancock Tower. Minimalism doesn't always work for the best, not if you're trying to cut down on costs. The John Hancock Tower is a 60-story skyscraper in Boston in the United States. Its design spelled disaster before it ever opened. In November 1972, glass started plummeting down on the street below. There are a few giant no-nos when it comes to building skyscrapers, and John Hancock Tower ignored all of them. Its windows weren't the slightest bit flexible. Soon, all the windows cracked. By mid-1973, thousands of them broke entirely. They had to replace all 10,000 windows at a cost of a mind-blowing $7 million. To add insult to injury, people on the upper floors reported feeling motion sickness because of the poor foundation. Number 5. Playground at Pier 1. You could have fried an egg on the structures at the playground at Pier 1 in Brooklyn Bridge Park in New York. That's how infernally hot it was. When the playground was first constructed, the steel structures were to be admired. That is, until everyone discovered they were too hot to touch, never mind climb. The president of New York City Park Advocates once measured the temperatures of one of the structures to be at over 127 degrees. Number 4. Kolkata Bridge. On 31 March 2016, a 490-foot steel pan of the under-construction bridge called Kolkata Bridge in Kolkata, India, collapsed and affected dozens of people. Just a few hours before the failure, the construction workers reported hearing a cracking noise. The bridge collapsed, and under its weight, numerous pedestrians and vehicles were trapped underneath it. Number 3. St. Francis Dam. In the 1920s, Los Angeles was experiencing a growing need for water regulation and storage. St. Francis Dam was the answer. However, they went about it wrong. The poor design combined with poor quality concrete led the curved dam to catastrophically fail. The flood that ensued killed at least 431 people. Number 2. Quebec Bridge. The Quebec Bridge deserves recognition for being possibly one of the structures doomed right from the start. It collapsed not once, but twice, and both times during its construction. The first time the Quebec Bridge collapsed was in 1907. When it suddenly crashed down, it took the lives of 75 people and injured 11 out of the 86 workers on it. In 1913, construction started again. This time, the span fell into the river. The 13 men on it, they fell to their demise. Believe it or not, but after that, the bridge was completed and opened to the public. Number 1. Aeon Center. Piece of advice: when you build the third tallest building in Chicago, don't decorate it with Italian Carrara marble, even if it's just for the aesthetic. Carrara marble is marvelous, but it's thinner than the normal materials you're supposed to use in skyscrapers. In 1974, a year after it was finished, a giant slab detached from the building and fell down onto the roof of the nearby Prudential Center. It was a warning. The marble was cracking all over. The builders were forced to forego beauty for practicality and paid, wait for it, $80 million to sheath the building in granite. Which one of these fails surprised you the most? Which ones could have been entirely avoidable? Share your proposal in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fact Monkey so you don't miss an upload and you can enjoy the excellent content we send your way.